Dreams are immune to outside influence. They have their own agenda, in other words, a mind of their own. Dreaming operates largely independent of what goes on outside the brain, whether that be physiological events of the body, researchers' attempts to control dreams, or the dreamer's attempts at directing their own dreams. Let's explore each of these further. Dreams are immune to physiological events of the body. Many studies have sought evidence of physiological events' influence on dreams, including various illnesses, indigestion, thirst, penile erection, and a full bladder. But dreaming appears to operate independently of these processes. For example, our heart rate changes significantly during strong emotion when we are awake, but not when we are dreaming. Of course, physiological events such as these often influence our sleep as opposed to dreaming. We explored a number of these physiological events in our lecture on the sleeping body. But when we are able to sleep in spite of them, they have no discernible influence on our dreams. Dreams are immune to dreamers' direction. Something called dream incubation occurs when a person is successful at determining what they will later dream about before falling asleep. Typically, this is attempted by concentrating on the desired topic while falling asleep. Can we really direct or incubate our own dreams? Yes, we sometimes can, but it is the exception rather than the rule. In other words, although we can occasionally succeed, most of the time, by far, dreams appear to have their own agenda and are immune to our attempts at direction. Although practices for promoting lucid dreaming can improve your batting average, you will still usually strike out. Even those who study and practice lucid dreaming fail more than they succeed when studied in the sleep lab. Dreams are also immune to researchers' influence. Researchers have made many attempts to introduce stimuli into dreamers' dreams. While we are oblivious to much of what is going on around us while we are sleeping, the brain maintains a certain level of vigilance. This knowledge led to studies of this nature. When I worked in a sleep lab, we were spraying perfumes into a small hole in the wall during men's REM sleep and men's colognes during women's REM sleep. It was a break in our regular studies in the hope of fundraising. Our equipment was outdated, so our idea went like this. If we found a cologne that stimulated more sexual content in dreams, the manufacturer would pay us a small fortune to use that information in marketing, and we could then update our equipment. It was a great idea, but alas, the fragrances produced no effect. Many studies were being done in laboratories then, trying to introduce similar stimuli into dreams. And although the barrier gate, remember in the thalamus, that is closed to external stimuli, was difficult to break, much was learned. While the pathways for stimuli entering the brain are quelled when we are sleeping, the brain does still monitor these for relevance. We tend to design our sleep environment to be quiet and peaceful. This explains why most stimuli do not meet the strength or importance criteria needed to wake us up. Some stimuli that are not strong enough to actually wake us up do occasionally manage to leak in to get processed by the brain and enter our dreams, only to be incorporated into them, like, for instance, repeated text notifications appearing in your dream as maybe a water faucet dripping. However, this is more the exception than the rule. Usually, they either do not waken us Or usually, if they break through the thalamus gate, their strength or relevance is high enough to awaken us. Kids, unlike adults, will often sleep through the blaring alarms of smoke detectors. But if you get one that lets you record your voice so its alarm plays as mom or dad saying, "Wake up, Timmy, there's a fire," the kids are a lot more likely to wake up. The two strongest cues being their name and mom or dad's voice. These usually awaken them enough to process the words "wake up" and "fire." Researchers have also tried to influence what residue of the waking day appears in dreams. They have exposed dreamers to social isolation, vigorous exercise, difficult mental tasks, graphic films of amputations or circumcisions, and even porn before sleep. They still found no discernible effects. Notably, these studies were mostly conducted before 1995, when Powell and his colleagues discovered that day residue is most likely to occur 6 days later. So they were looking at the first night, but still we'd expect to see some evidence. Instead, again, dreams appear to have a mind of their own. Now, one particularly strong and amusing exception has been found, one that researchers did not at all intend. When participants sleep in a sleep lab, they often report dreaming of people in lab coats and a room full of strange electrical machinery or things glued to the bed and long wires, etc. Interestingly, this implies that dreams might have a self-conscious component.